live, and as soon as I press the live button, it started falling over. All right, so today or tonight, we are doing the You Are a Badass book study. So this is a live recording. Therefore, if you're watching this after it's already been recorded live, feel free to fast forward just a little bit to get to the good stuff, So this is something I'm doing for self-care September, and we will be doing a live every Thursday this month, and then there will be one on the first Thursday of October as well, because it's a 5-part book study. You don't have to read the book, so you can just follow along on these videos. We're gonna go breakdown by breakdown, and you'll get my 2 cents on the matter as well. Um, Hopefully the live thing function works well, so that if you ask a question, I might not be able to type back, but I can hopefully see it. And so if you want to comment or something of that sort, that is available. So I am Izzy, and I'm the owner of FigLeaf Yoga and Fitness. I am the yoga teacher. I also do corrective alignment, and I do wellness coaching as well. And the biggest thing I see get in a lot of people's way, personal training, wellness coaching, is their belief in themselves and their own story that they have. I see so many people that are really amazing people, and I see what they're capable of, but their doubt and their lack of confidence is generally this self-sabotaging thing that they do to themselves. And it's normally because of habits, and a lot of their thinking habits stem from things they believe about themselves that aren't true, but they can't make it stop. They can, but they believe that they can't. So this book has really made a huge difference in my life. It's a lot of things that I already taught, but I think reading it and having the exercises and working through it part by part to really put it into play instead of just hearing it in yoga class makes a big difference. So I want you to do this like a workbook style. And I have some questions at the end of the video for you to write down so that you can journal about them before you do the next study. And I really like doing this week by week because I really want you to pay attention to what we talked about and see how it plays in and factored into your life throughout that week before you do the second part. So even if you're not watching it live, I hope that you can do that as well and really take that week, even though you feel rushed and you are excited and you want to get to the next part. Still, I really urge you to take a week in between to really focus on that. And if anything, just reread the first part or rewatch this first part and keep analyzing these things. That way you can really get the most of it. So part 1. Okay. So the first thing is our conscious mind thinks that it's in control, but it isn't. Our subconscious mind doesn't think about anything, but is in control. So our conscious mind is what we're thinking all the time, and that's what we think is in control. But it's the subconscious mind. It's the beliefs that we have rooted down in us that we don't even think about, and that's why we're taking the time to think about them. Those are the ones that we're working with, because those are the ones that really dictate what is actually happening. Okay, number 2, the conscious mind is like a relentless overachiever, incessantly spinning around from thought to thought, stopping only when we sleep. And sometimes, right, our dreams even show up. And then starting up again the second we open our eyes. Our subconscious mind, on the other hand, is the non-analytical part of the brain that's fully developed the moment we arrive here on Earth It's all about feelings and instincts and erupting into ear-piercing temper tantrums in the middle of supermarkets. The subconscious mind believes everything because it has no filter. It doesn't know the difference between what's true and what's not true. And sadly, again, that is what's really controlling our actions and our beliefs about ourselves. Um, if you've ever had someone say something to you and it really affected you, and then you stopped thinking about it, but you felt like that was that wall for you. All right. Um, so feel free to leave comments even if you're watching after this is recorded. So while you explored and expanded into your new world, you also received messages from the people around you about the way things are. From the moment you could take it in, they started filling you up with a lifetime worth of beliefs, many of which have nothing to do with who you actually are or what is necessarily true. Things like, they could say the world's a dangerous place. So maybe you fear things a lot, or that you're too fat, so you're constantly fearing that. Maybe they tell you that homosexuality is a curse. They tell you that size matters. They tell you that hair shouldn't grow there, that going to college is important, that you have to go. Being a musician or an artist isn't a real job or career. So think about how those signify to you. Like, how have you limited yourself? And so this is where you might take the time to pause the video if you're watching and write down some things. Like, what do you believe is bad? What do you believe are your things that have limited you or things that people have told you? And in Buddhism, we have this thing we call family karma. And so a lot of times this is what we work on, is rewriting family karma. And that goes on to say, the main source of this information, of course, are your parents, assisted by society at large. When they're raising you, your parents, in a genuine effort to protect you and educate you and love you with all their hearts, hopefully, passed on their beliefs that they learned from their parents, who learned them from their parents, and who learned them from their parents. And so that's when we start to rewrite. But at some point, until we wake up, which is what this book will hopefully do, that's how it works, as we just keep doing that. And so I love how she uses this word wake up, because this is often a common theme again in a lot of Buddhist or Eastern philosophy, is waking up, or what we'll say is opening of the eyes, or sometimes we use this word called enlightenment, which enlightenment just means like the light switch got turned on. Of course, that's not what they literally mean it, but it's this awakening to what the subconscious is thinking, and also with the ego, which we'll talk a bit about that in just a moment too. So how many times have you sacrificed your time, pride, or anything else not to embarrass someone else? Someone you might not have even known. So these, again, are these little tiny things, and she goes on to talk about this mattress salesman, if you read the book, and how she ended up leaving the store because she didn't want to embarrass him. So how many times have you sacrificed your own happiness for someone else's? And then this happens all the time, because then we're like, oh my gosh, like I didn't get what I wanted. Why did I do that? These are some of these overriding things that go against what our conscious mind rationally says to do. And sometimes our conscious mind's like screaming at us, saying, just tell them, or don't do that. And then we end up doing it anyways. Have you ever wondered why? Okay. So when our conscious mind finally develop and show up for work, no matter how big or smart or high-foughten, I don't know what that word is, they grow to be, they're still controlled by the beliefs that we're carrying around in our subconscious mind. Okay. This is why so many of us stumble through life doing everything we know in our conscious mind to do, yet remain mystified by what's keeping us from creating the excellent, perfect lives. Do you know what you want? Do you know what you want, the perfect life? Then ask yourself, why? Why don't I have it? And then maybe there's some excuses that pop up. So some things, like for example, a lot of people, money is a thing. So maybe you associate money with struggle because you watched someone struggle to get money. So therefore you believe that money's unavailable. And you believe that it's money's fault that someone did something they did. And you believe that money sucks and it causes pain. And so this underlying belief might be there. And that might be why you have a really hard time making money. Maybe you put obstacles in your own way. You have these self-destruct buttons that you tend to hit. So no matter what you say or what you want, if you've got an underlying subconscious belief that it's going to cause you pain or it isn't available to you, you're either A, won't let yourself have it, or B, you'll let yourself have it, but you'll be all anxious or guilty and you'll go off and end up losing it. So, it's like we've been wanting money and we finally get it, but then we're blowing it all the time on stuff we don't even need. And so we had the money for a short moment, but we never put it in the savings account. Or we never did the things that we said we were going to do once we had the money. So after 10 years of money coming in and money coming out, and maybe you got awarded some money or taxes, you get your tax return, and you still never did that one little thing that probably only cost $1,000, and you never let yourself have it. So maybe that's something that happened. Okay. So it's sort of like not being able to enjoy sitting on your own front porch anymore because it totally reeks of something foul out there. You come up with all these brilliant ways to deal with the problems. You light incense, you set up fans, you blame it on the dog, until you realize that something's crawled under your house and died. Your problems will linger and stink up your life. You love it, right? Okay. Briefly on chapter 2. This one is really talking about the law of attraction. So if you're not a big fan of the law of attraction, hopefully you are, or hopefully you're open to it, because being open to the law of attraction is going to work magic. And I mean that in the sense of believing in yourself, believing that you're connected to something greater. You can call it whatever you want. So she goes on to say, like, you could call it God, Goddess, the big guy, the universe, source, energy, highest power, the grand poobah, gut, intuition, spirit, the force, the zone, the Lord, the vortex, the mother lode. Doesn't matter. Okay? It's that you're believing in trusting, that you're believing in faith, that you're believing that there is vibration to earth, and that like attracts like. Vibration attracts vibration, and that you need to raise your vibration, your frequency, to match the vibration that you want to gain. Okay? So it's like saying, like, if you want to hang out with the millionaires, then you need to take on habits that the millionaires have. And not necessarily, like, again, these limiting beliefs are going to come in. Oh my gosh, like, they're horrible people. Well, maybe there's not. Maybe there's some really awesome millionaires. I'm sure you could probably think of some that do good things with their money, that are the people that you want and hope to be. And so maybe you imagine yourself with them. What kind of habits would they have? Allow yourself to be that. Because in order for you to attract that kind of life, you've got to step up to that vibration. Like, all things that make progress are you stepping out of your comfort zone. If you want change, you have to change. You can't keep doing the same thing over and over and just expect something to change. That's the definition of insanity. Okay? So in order to truly raise your vibration, you've got to believe that everything you want is available to you. You got to believe that it's possible. And the best way to believe this is by staying connected to source energy. You have to believe that the force is within you. Okay? All right. If you're depressed and you're living in the past. If you're anxious, you're living in the future. If you're at peace, you're living in the present. So, it's one of these things that says if you're living in the present moment, once you've believed that all this stuff's available to you, if you're living in the past, you're not gonna notice when this stuff is showing up, when the signs are there, when the clues are there, when the hints, when the guidance, when you're realizing, oh, I did ask for that. It's just showing up in a slightly different way. You're not going to be awake to that. You're not going to be able to realize it. And then it goes on to say that like animals and little kids are a great thing to watch to get a little bit more sense of this. So it's, sometimes we ask for things and we don't realize how we're asking for them. So I've had people tell me like, be careful what you wish for, you ask for, you pray for, whatever. If you're like, I want more alone time. Alone time might show up in ways you didn't think of. And unless you're like ready and willing and you're ready to see that, sometimes someone might offer you a babysitter and you're like, no, it's okay. You're not taking the help when it's coming. So being open to that. It's not that the things and opportunities we want in life don't exist. It's that we're not yet aware of their existence or the fact that we can really have them. All right. And then she goes on to talk about what she calls the big snooze, which is actually ego. So I like to think of ego as the little toddler inside you that's always throwing tantrums and fighting yourself and often hitting the snooze button on your happiness. So I love that she calls it the big snooze. Waiting or wanting to be someone else is a waste of the person that you are. You already have everything you need to be the person. You just have to believe that you can be that person. You have to believe that you are. So the ego operates according to your limiting false beliefs. Again, this is why this is so important. You got to really spend a week on this. All right, so it gets validation from outside sources. It's reactive, fear-based, and extremely committed to keeping you safely confined within the reality that you've created based on these limiting false beliefs. It lives in the past and in the future and believes you're separate from everything around you. So the ego is the one that if you wake up early in the morning and get to the gym, you're going to lose that weight that you need to lose. You know that you can make these awesome classes and you're going to have more energy and you've done this before. But for some reason you wake up and you're just like, I'm too tired. I can't do it. And it makes you hit the snooze button. Or a toddler that knows they have to brush their teeth before bed, but they will throw a tantrum for 30 minutes to an hour trying to fight you. And what do you end up having to do? They have to brush their teeth. But if they would have brushed their teeth, they would have been able to play for a little bit before bedtime or read a little bit before bedtime. But because they threw that tantrum, they lost out on all that fun. We still do that as adults. We procrastinate. We say, I can't do it, I can't do it. Or we wait, and it's just rip the Band-Aid off and go do it. You know what you have to do. Most likely your mind's screaming at you what needs to happen for your happiness. Okay? So stop doubting yourself and just give it a try. All right. Self-perception is a zoo. It's just as easy to believe we're awesome as it is to believe that we're really sucky. Okay? It takes just as much energy. So why not believe that? And I'm going to finish up with one more quote. You are loved. Massively, ferociously, unconditionally. The universe is totally freaking out about how awesome you are. It's got you wrapped up in a warm gorilla hug of adoration. It wants to give you everything you desire. It wants you to be happy. It wants you to see it, all the greatness that's in you. Now, after I said that, how did you feel? Did you doubt it? Did you believe it? Did you say, oh, this is full of crap? If you did, that's something really awesome for you to think about, because you are awesome. You're human. You have such an opportunity. You have endless possibilities. And you might feel like you're stuck right now, but I guarantee that if you hope and you believe you're worth it, and you allow yourself to feel self-respect, and you allow yourself to grow, suddenly opportunities that you didn't see was available will become available. All right. So now for those journaling questions for you to ask yourself. Number 1, notice your conscious, subconscious, and manifestation. So the things that you want. Write down some of those that you know. And we kind of mentioned that throughout. 2, what vibrations are you sending and attracting? So start analyzing yourself. 3, do you worry about what others think? What habits and thoughts alter your life for those around you? And then number 4, last one, what do you think you're bad at and what do you think you're good at? Okay. And part 2, we're going to learn how to embrace your inner badass. All right. So give this a thumbs up. Please subscribe so you can see when the next ones are coming available. You can check me out on Facebook at FigLeaf.Fit, or you can check out my webpage at FigLeaf.Fitness.com. And please leave me some questions, some comments. Let me know things you want to talk about, what you thought was good, anything of that sort. All right, this is Izzy, and I hope you have a fantastic night and really believe that the force is within you.